Right, sorry about that. This is the 1000th episode of Trent365. Apologies for the frivolity with the introduction, but what the hey, it's the 1000th episode. This is 1000 consecutive days of posting my daily thoughts, ideas, and insights into the world of spa, wellness, business, hotels, and the world. And I figured I might as well do something a little bit special. So special, in fact, that I decided to don the tuxedo. Don't think I'm going to get to wear the tuxedo again this year. I can't imagine too many gala dinners that I'll be going to for the rest of the year. So I thought this is my only chance to wear the tuxedo. And yes, for those of you that have experienced this in Zoom land in recent times, I am Zoom attired. I'm not going to show you the rest, but you'll have to use your imagination. So look, 1000 episodes. Normally with these episodes, I think people are looking for a takeaway, a thought, a soundbite, a snippet, an idea. So I'm going to start with that now because frankly, I'll probably end up rambling on a little bit during this show just to say thanks and just to tell you a little bit about my journey. So for those that just want the snippet is probably ask yourself, what have you got to lose? You've got nothing to lose in many cases, but our fear and our concerns stops us making those decisions. Worst case scenario, like I've spoken about in one of my episodes a while back now, can't remember which one. There's 1,000 of them. It's hard to remember. But ask yourself, there's so much uncertainty right now. We want to do things, but we're not really sure about the future. Ask yourself, what's the worst possible thing that can happen? If you can live with that, then give it a try. If you want to create content, just go and do it. Nobody listens, who cares? People laugh at you, who cares? You want to go and learn to play music, now is probably as good a time as any. You want to travel, not a great time for travel, but ask yourself, what have I got to lose by doing it? And then do it. So that's the takeaway for today's episode. Now the giveaway for today's episode, as I've mentioned over the last couple of days, I'm giving away 10 private one-on-one confidential sessions with me to talk about your idea, your business, pretty much anything you want to talk about, except soccer, of course. And the reason I'm doing that is because I wanted to do something special to give back, I guess, for the people that have been supporting me in watching the show and listening to the show over the years. And I figured the best way I can do that is give you some of my time. Not suggesting I've got all the answers by any stretch of the imagination, but I have helped, I know, a number of people over the years. I know that sounds a little egotistical, but bear with me, by listening and by asking questions. I may not have the answers, but I'm pretty good at asking questions for you. So very happy to do those one-on-one sessions. I'll tell you all about that at the end of the show, how you can get it. But again, in the interest of saving your time, for those that don't want to sit around, scroll to the bottom of the comments and you'll find a link there. Now, the whole idea about this show really was to share those daily thoughts and ideas and insights. And the whole idea of my content journey was really because at the time when I started this, more than 1,000 days ago, a few years back, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, where I started writing my blog posts, I just felt that there weren't enough people saying the things that I felt needed to be said. So I started that with blog posts because that was where I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable writing. And so I did that. And then after a while, I decided, about a year or so, I decided I want to do audio because audio is the way of the future. I felt podcasting was starting to become pretty big back then, 5 years ago, and has continued to do so. So I figured audio was a good thing for me to do. Also, I've kind of got a bit of a radio voice, as I've been told before. So I figured I've got a perfect voice for radio and arguably a perfect face. So I decided that podcasting was the way to go. But I didn't want to get into doing interviews because that was going to be a pain. I didn't want the hassle of trying to coordinate interviews and times and then having to do the editing. So I thought, what can I do to start my podcast journey? And what I decided on was just simply reading my blog posts because I've already got the content there. I can just sit down and read my blogs and that will become podcast content. And so that's how I started. And I did that for, I guess, about a year and 9 months or so. And that helped me learn the mechanisms of podcasting, the right platforms to use, the distribution systems, how to get it out there, what an RSS feed was, all of these technicalities that I knew nothing about. And then after about a year or so of that, I decided that I wanted to try and produce daily content. Now, this is on the back of following people like Seth Godin and Gary Vaynerchuk, who many of you will know. These guys have been putting out content for years, and a lot of it. And I figured for 1 year, I want to try and put out a piece of content every day. What is that content going to be? I thought audio was the easiest because I could just record it on the run, short snippets. And then I found Anchor, which is a great app on your phone that you can basically record audio and it will automatically then post it out to the various podcast platforms. And that's a platform that's still around today and it's still free today. So if you want to start your own little podcast journey, go and check out Anchor, spelt just like the anchor on a ship. So I started with that and that was great. And I was happy with that. And I guess I had maybe 3 months worth of content there on the daily podcast app through the Anchor app. And then what happened is Anchor changed their platform a little bit, their editing system a bit, which I wasn't in love with. And I also felt I wanted to start doing video anyway. And that was a big step because I think like most people, I don't particularly love the look of myself on camera because probably the camera actually tells the truth and nobody really likes the truth. But I figured it was a hurdle I kind of needed to get over because once I created the video content, I would then be able to strip it out and have the audio, and then I've got two different types of content available. And the challenge with video, of course, is that editing becomes a problem. I didn't want to get into learning video editing, and I didn't want to produce crappy videos that were sort of staggered and this kind of stuff. So I knew I had to keep it short and sweet. I knew I had to get it to a point where I could just ramble for 2 or 3 minutes only, not like I'm doing now where I'm rambling incessantly. But that was what I decided to do, I guess, probably about 200 episodes in, and ever since then it's been all video. And that's where I am today. So I would encourage you, and why am I doing it? Look, people have asked me over the journey, why are you doing this? What's the end game of this content? In fact, some of you have even reached out over the years and said, aha, I see now what you're doing. I understand what your end game is. That's very clever, your strategy, which I kind of smile at because I'm going to answer that question today. I'm going to answer the question, what is the end game of this content? The answer, quite simply, there is no end game. There's really not. I don't have an end game to start monetizing all the content. I'm not trying to be an influencer. There's really no end game in sight for me with this. I'm lucky enough at the moment, at least, touch wood, not to be able to need an income from this. So as long as I can keep producing all this for free, then I will continue to do so. But that's maybe an interesting lesson for those of you out there now that have lost your job or are worried about maybe losing your job, is that I could potentially turn my platform, my content into a revenue generator. Maybe do some short courses, maybe package it up a bit differently, maybe, sell subscriptions or sell advertising, even a little bit. I could do that now because I've done the homework, I've done the groundwork, I've learnt the craft, if you like, of creating content. And so if you're in a situation now where you're really uncertain about the future and you're worried about what that future will be, ask yourself, had I been creating content for the last 3 or 4 years, would I be in a better place and possibly have a way to not necessarily replace my income, but at least maybe put some food on the table? Because I think you probably could. And so if anyone out there wants to start their content journey, hit me up, send me an email to me@trentmonday.com. I'm happy to give you any tips and suggestions if you need any pointers. Again, not that I've got all the right answers, but I can at least tell you the way that I've gone. So, like I said, there really is no end game, but I just felt that I felt it would be fun to try and produce a piece of content every day in audio format. Hence, the genius name of Trent365, which of course seems a little bit redundant now because we've gone up to 1,000 episodes, but nonetheless, at the time, it was a brilliant idea. And that's another lesson, I guess. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you screw it up along the way. I've had multiple screw-ups along the way, this little journey that have cost me a lot of time, but at the same time, it's not my job. I'm not a professional by any stretch. I'm not pretending to be. This is not my full-time job. This is my little side gig. This is not something that I do to earn a living, but it has been something that has helped me learn a bit of the craft about creating content, about podcasting, about video creation. Capwing came along a few years ago, I guess a couple of years ago now, with the transcription, so I'm now able to put the subtitles on the videos, which a lot of people like because people prefer to read it. And I've learned all this stuff along the way. I knew nothing when I started, but get onto YouTube. Pretty much anything you want to learn about content creation or platforms, how to do it, how to edit it, where to post it, when to post it, it's all available online, either a Google search or a YouTube search. So I'd really encourage you to play around with it and find the platform and the format that works for you. If you're comfortable writing like I was initially, then just write articles, put them on your website. If you're more comfortable with voice but hate the look of yourself on camera, then podcasting is the way to go. If you're comfortable with all of that, then video is the best because it just gives you more options to strip out that same content and repurpose it later on. But give it a try. Like I've said, I think a couple of days ago, they will remember your wins, but they're going to forget your losses. So it really doesn't matter. Now, a couple of quick announcements before we get to the giveaway details. People over the years have also asked, where can I get your old episodes? Well, I am thrilled to announce that we have now got everything on the website. Trent365.com, there's a video tab and there is an audio tab. All of the episodes from this show, all 1,000 episodes, will be there on our website. My website, actually, not ours, it's mine. On the website, Trent365.com, all the videos since we've been doing them, and those that were before, we've just done these little sound squiggles, sound waves, and all the audio content. And the search bars on those pages are pretty good. So you just type in a subject you want to hear about, and you'll probably find that I've spoken about it somewhere in those 1,000 odd pieces of episodes, plus the Inside the Spa Business show where I started doing the interviews. So I think that's about 70 odd episodes there. Plus there's also all of the blogs as well, which you can find on another tab of the website. So all of the content now is updated. It'll be updated every day, and you'll be able to find all of the archives essentially on my website. So a special shout out to Saeed, my mate, for helping me get all that together as well. Now, finally, apart from saying thank you for all of you that have been with me, whether it's from the very first day of this show, which I know some of you have, or whether you've just found me over the last couple of days, I genuinely do appreciate every time you tune in. It's not about the number of likes and the number of comments. It really isn't. And I know that's easy to say, and yes, we all look at them, but every now and then I'll get an email from someone, or I'll meet somebody at a conference and they'll say, hey, I love your videos. And I'm like, hang on, I don't know your name. I've never heard of you before. And I look at all my comments and I look at all my likes, even if it's someone I don't recognize. I think, I wonder who that person is. But a lot of people watch your content and don't like and don't share and don't comment, but it's still registered, and that's enough. You know, it has to be enough. So I guess the last thing I wanted to do is to just tell you that anybody that wants to reach out to me for these 10 private one-on-one sessions, again, this is not about my ego. This is about me trying to give back to you guys. Half an hour, I think, is the right amount of time for me to be able to understand what it is you're doing and where you're going. Like I've said, I do not pretend to have all the answers, but I think I'm pretty good at asking the questions. And so what you need to do, scroll on down to the bottom of the comments, and there is a link in there. The link is only going to be where you are watching or listening to this show. I'm not putting the link anywhere else, so if you're not listening to this show right now, you will miss the link. As I've said, I'm going to give away 10 one-on-one sessions. The time zone there is GMT +8, which is the time zone I'm in. If that doesn't exactly suit you, just book a slot anyway, and then we'll be in touch and we'll sort something out. The reason that I can't be totally specific with the time zones and the time slots is because I'm using a free tool, a free plugin to actually record those, to make those appointments. And that's how I've done this whole bloody show. I've not paid for hardly anything, at least not when I started. I started with free versions, and then I maybe paid after I realized I could get some benefit from it. But you can create 1,000 episodes of content with nothing than your mobile phone. Buy a $20 microphone if you really want to, $50 microphone, $70, I'm not sure what it costs. Not a lot of money. You don't need it, it just helps. So in that, I will finish and I will say thank you very much for listening. I really do appreciate it. I honestly never really thought I'd go 1,000 episodes. Wasn't even sure I'd do 365. Not really sure where I'm going to be after this, but I can guarantee that I will be back again tomorrow. See ya.